Welcome once again to Political Dharma with Alan Zundell. It is Monday, November 4th, 2024. I wasn't expecting to put out a video again before Wednesday morning when I intend to report on the results of the presidential election, especially how the vote for alternative candidates, that is, candidates outside of the two major parties, do in the election. But something came up over the weekend that I noticed just yesterday, and I thought it was worth bringing to you because it has to do with these alternative candidates. On the Independent Political Report, this story popped up on Saturday, and it says that Claudia De la Cruz of the Socialism and Liberation Party made an agreement with Cornel West, the independent candidate who is also forming a We the People party, and Green Party candidate Jill Stein, have formed agreements to scratch each other's backs, so to speak, and encourage their supporters to vote for one of the other parties where that party is on the ballot, but their own is not. Now, it turns out, looking into this, that the agreement between the West and De La Cruz campaigns happened first, and this was announced last Wednesday on the Cornel West website. Apparently, his vice presidential nominee, Melina Abdullah, was the go-between between the two candidates and helped set this agreement up. Now, on Saturday, the Party of Socialism and Liberation did an interview with both West and De La Cruz explaining what this was all about. So I'm going to take a couple of short excerpts from that 40-minute interview, which appeared on the Party of Socialism and Liberation's YouTube channel, PSL National, and I'll let you hear something of what they had to say for themselves. So this is about 5 minutes long out of a 40-minute interview, but it gives you the heart of something about what they had to say about this agreement.
Hello, my name is Cameron Hurt. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and I also help coordinate volunteer engagement for the Claudia Carina 2024 presidential campaign. We have here Dr. Cornel West, Claudia De la Cruz, and Dr. Melina Abdullah to discuss the recently announced agreement between both campaigns to cooperate in a number of states. The Claudia Carina campaign is calling on its supporters to vote for West and Abdullah in Alaska. In turn, West Abdullah are calling on supporters to vote for Claudia and Carina in Florida, Hawaii, New Mexico, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Now, this may sound like a surprise to many, but it really shouldn't be, because all of these candidates have a history of working together on many fronts of struggle. Both the West Abdullah and Claudia Carina campaign are united by shared values like ending genocide and war, a deep commitment to Black liberation, and the determination to build an alternative outside the corporate two-party system.
I'm not going to say too much. I just want to say that it's a beautiful thing to be able to come together. It really is, and I'm very excited about the announcement. It was about a month and a half ago, my dear brother Daruba and brother Kalanji has said, look, we had to have a united front after the election to make sure party, pre-party formations, institutions, infrastructures, and groups can come together. And I had not thought about ways in which a coming together could take place before the election. And then when I heard from Sister Melina, who really conveyed the idea to me, I said, "Oh my God, that is just magnificent." My only challenge was always, I always hope and pray that we put the struggles against capitalism and imperialism connected to the struggle against white supremacy. And the Party for Socialism and Liberation has always met that criteria, and we tried to do that in Justice for All. And therefore, I'm very excited about this, and I want to be able to do all that I can to make sure that we encourage our folk to support the Party for Socialism and Liberation in those states where we're not represented. Of course, it's vice versa. But keep in mind, this is not a quid pro quo. This is not transactional. This is transformational. This is based on principle.
Thank you so much, Cameron. I'm just delighted. I'm very inspired and excited about this collaboration. We've marched together. We've been in panels together. We've protested in many different fronts together. And so it makes sense for us to continue to build that principled unity. And especially in a moment in which we understand that we're going to need all the forces, all the creativity, and all the intelligence of our people and our organizations to be able to advance our struggles. Whoever the tenet of the White House becomes November 5th. We are going to have to do it stronger, and we're going to have to do it together. And I think this is just an expression of what we foresee and what we're willing and committed to doing in the near future, to continue to do after November 5th. I also believe that it's, it's incredible in a moment in which we are told that unity is basically impossible. And there are so many people who are calling for unity in many different ways, to have two campaigns that have differences, be in conversation with each other and showing what collaboration could look like, despite the many obstacles that this very undemocratic system places for such type of collaborations. And so I'm just thrilled at the potential of deepening that, expanding that, and starting to visualize what it would mean in the electoral front. Because I think in people's movements, we have that experience. We come from that experience, and there's enough trust to be in conversation with each other. And so what would that mean for us in the near future, talking about what an actual third party of working class people would look like in this country?
As I said earlier, you can find that full 40-minute interview on the PSL National YouTube channel. Now, this would seem to be small potatoes because the De la Cruz is only on the ballot in 19 states and Cornel West on the ballot in 15 states. So it looks small, even in comparison to the rather small universe of minor party and independent candidates. But then on that same day, Saturday, there was an announcement that Jill Stein had made a similar agreement with De la Cruz, in which De la Cruz would encourage her supporters to vote for Stein in Montana and Arkansas, states where Stein is on the ballot but De la Cruz is not. And then Jill Stein would encourage her supporters to vote for De la Cruz in Indiana and North Dakota, where the opposite condition held. So Green Party is on the ballot in some 38 states. This extends their cooperation to quite a larger territory. At least in terms of potential future collaborations. They would cover a lot more states if they all work together in some ways. Now, I looked online for further information about these agreements, didn't find a heck of a lot, but there was an article on the Tag24 website, and it didn't have a lot of additional information, but it did have quotes from Stein and De la Cruz giving some of their what they had to say about this particular part of the agreement. De la Cruz, in a press release, said this, according to the article, quote, "A huge number of people all across the country are disgusted with the choices we are presented with by the two-party system. We are very excited to work together with a campaign that shares our goal of building an alternative that fights for the dignity of working people and the survival of the planet. Don't settle for the lesser evil. On Tuesday, cast your ballot for a candidate who stands up to Wall Street and the war machine," end quote. And then Jill Stein had this to say, quote, "It is an honor to support Claudia and Karina and the PSL. I hope it is the beginning of a long alliance between the Greens and the Socialists, the only two parties willing to stand up to fascism and militarism. We simply must work together to create a democracy that allows for more choices at the ballot box and for a government that creates policies and actions to help everyday people, not the corporate elites." All right. I think she misstated herself slightly in that Cornel West is also creating another party, which obviously has the same concerns as Cornel West does. He did that because his We the People party could get on the ballot easier than he could as an independent candidate, and then put him on the ballot as their nominee. And also the Peace and Freedom Party here in California, which has been around for a long time and is well established for a minor party in California, had as its nominee Claudia De la Cruz this year. So altogether, there is at least 4 parties here involved that could help each other in this election, then even more so if this collaboration continues into the future. Now, I started out my coverage of alternative candidates over a year ago, October, when Cornel West decided he was going to accept the invitation of the People's Party to run as the presidential candidate, and then he moved over to seeking the nomination of the Green Party on the advice of several people close to him, because obviously the Green Party, or maybe not so obviously, but the Green Party does have a lot more infrastructure and experience with presidential campaigns and ballot access in a lot of different states. So Cornel West decided to seek the nomination of the Green Party, and Jill Stein, who had run for president as the nominee twice before in 2012 and 2016, stepped in as his campaign manager initially, but then Cornel West decided he didn't want to seek the nomination of the Green Party, and went off as an independent presidential candidate because, as he said at the time, he didn't want to spend time going around talking to just delegates of the Green Party in the various states to help get the nomination at their national convention. He would rather be out talking about the issues of concern to him to the general public, and perhaps also he didn't see the Green Party as in the forefront of the battle for liberation of black people, although that is a concern of the Green Party, but maybe didn't see it as at the center enough. I'm just speculating there. But when he stepped out, then Jill Stein stepped in because the Green Party needed a nominee, or it would lose its opportunity to possibly gain that 5% of the vote to get it public funding in future elections, and then also lose ballot access if they weren't running a candidate, which is possibly going to happen to some of the minor parties that nominated Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and then with him bowing out, they're not going to have a candidate. Some of them kept them on the ballot, some didn't, so it could affect them negatively. Anyway, so we had competition between the Green Party candidate, Jill Stein, and Cornel West for some of the same voters with the same concerns, and then Claudia De la Cruz as well, who I would say that the Green Party is more social democratic. Cornel West is social democratic bordering on selfish, and then Claudia De la Cruz is more in the socialism sphere, so all to the left of the Democratic Party, but with a lot in common. If they could build a collaboration that extends into future elections, it would be a significant challenge to the two-party system, which is my major concern here. I would also hope to see some way of bringing parties together, even across ideological boundaries, to present a challenge to the two-party system, because as long as you have these alternatives scattered among different ideologies, different voter sets, they're not going to be able to build up enough support to actually draw voters away from the Republicans and Democrats in any significant numbers, I don't think. So that's my report for today. As usual, I thank you all for watching and for subscribing and liking and sharing these videos. I especially appreciate all the comments, the love and support and encouragement that many of you have given to me. Some people have asked me if I have deleted their comments. No, I haven't. The only time I've deleted comments is in the case where somebody repeats themselves pretty much word for word in multiple comments. And I think that's because for some reason, when people initially write a comment, it disappears into the YouTube algorithm black hole, or at least is delayed from showing up, and then they repeat the same comment. So if I see you repeating the same comment 2 or 3 times, I will delete the excessive comments, but I never censor people on the basis of the things they've had to say, even if they criticize me. I actually welcome that and like to hear what you have to say. So thanks again for all of you commenting and all the rest, and I hope you join me again on Wednesday to see how this election to tomorrow is turning out. Thanks and goodbye.